Okay, so we're going to look at lesson 2.4, which is bar graphs. Remember, we're doing all kinds of graphs this week, and we're learning how to read them and decode them so we can figure out how to answer questions about them. A bar graph uses bars to show data. A scale of equally spaced numbers helps you read the numbers on each bar. See how these are spaced out? The student in the reading group makes a bar graph to record the number of books they read in October. How many books did Seth read? So here's the students. You have Max, Amy, Seth, and Kate. The title tells you what the bar graph is about. The length of the bar tells you how much each student read. The scale, you have 0 books all the way up to 16. They count by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And each bar labeled with each student, each bar is labeled by each student's name. So obviously the bigger the bar is, the more books you have read. Okay? So we're looking for how many books Seth did read. So find the bar for Seth. It ends at, you go to Seth's name, go all the way down. It ends at 8. Right? Let me get this ready. So Seth read 8 books. That's simple. That's all you have to do. Well, now let's look at another one. How many books did Max read? Go to Max's name. Let's scroll all the way over. Max read 6 books. Make sure you put books. Who read 4 fewer books than Kate? So let's find Kate. Kate read 12. So what's 4 fewer than 12? 12 minus 4 is 8. Who read 8 books? Seth. Now, it says, what if Amy read 5 more books? How many books did Amy read? Shade the graph to show how many she read. So let's find Amy. Amy read, if we go over, it's between, it's between 8 and 10. Well, what number is between 8 and 10? It's 9. So Amy read 9 books. So if she read 5 more books, 9 plus 5 equals 14. So we'd have to draw it all the way up to the 14 and shade it in, just like that. So she would have read 14 books. These bar graphs show the same data. So look, you have favorite winter activities, but they're shown differently. This one's showing horizontally, and this one's shown vertically. Horizontal is sideways, vertical is straight up and down, okay? What does each space between the numbers represent? For example, between 4 and 8, between 8 and 12. Same thing over here. What do these spaces mean? What does the space between each number represent? Well, the space between each number represents the space represents numbers between the numbers that are shown. We can't just assume that there's no number between 12 and 16. There are numbers. So that space between the numbers are actually numbers. You just can't see them. What do you think of the scale? Why do you think the scale in the graph is 0 to 28 by 4s instead of 0 to 28 by 1s? What other scale could you use? So we're doing 0 to 28 and they're skip counting by 4. Why would we use 4? Well, first off, it makes the graph smaller. You don't want a huge graph. You could also use 2s over 4. So instead of skip counting by 4s, you could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now the graph's gonna be a little bit bigger, but this you'll be able to see you'll be able to see how close it is. But we could skip count by 4 or 2s. So if you need to pause this right here, go ahead and write this. Share and show. So which activity did most students choose? Biking, they choose 7. Walking, they choose 6. Soccer, they chose 14. And karate, they chose 10. Excuse me. So which bar is the longest? It's soccer. How many students answered the survey? Well, let's add it up. 7 plus 6 makes 13. 13 plus 10 makes 23. And 23 plus 14 makes 37. Which activity received 7 fewer than soccer? So 14 minus 7 is 7. So it's biking. Just like that. All right. Make sure, look how we decoded the graph before we even started answering questions. Next one. Let's decode our graph. Space has 15. Animals has 30. Nature has 10. Puzzles have 20. And sports has 35. So, which kind of book was chosen by half of the number of students as the animals as books as animals? So, animals is 30. What's half of 30? It's 15. So, space. Half is half of what it is. What two kind of books combined were chosen as often as sports? So, sports is 35. What plus what make 35? 20 or 30 and 10 make 40, so no. 30 and 20 make 50, so no. And 30 and 15 make 45, so no. So nothing in animals. 15 and 10 make 25, that doesn't equal 35. But 15 and 20 make 35, so it's space and puzzles. So it says write and solve a problem that matches the graph. We can say how many students picked animals and sports. So we look at animals and sports. 30 plus 35 is 65. How many students picked animals and sports? Think smarter. What if 10 more students were asked and they chose books about animals? Describe what the bar graph would look like. So if we did 10 more, guess what? 30 plus 10 is 40. This is what the bar would look like. So animals would be at the very top and have the most. Animals would be at the top and have the most. Animals would be at the top and they would have the most. See? All right, for A, if you need to pause, guys, please pause. For A through D, select true or false. So more students chose books about sports than any kind of book. Before we did this. Is sports the most? Yes, so that's true. 5 more students chose books about puzzles than books about space. So let's go to space. And if we add 5 more to it, is it about puzzles? Yes. 5 more students chose puzzles than space. That's true. 30 more students chose books about animals than about nature. So animals, 30, nature. No, only 20 more students. So that's false. 15 fewer students chose books about puzzles than books about sports. So puzzles and sports, 15, that is true. 15 fewer chose puzzles than sports. That's true. So it's true, true, false, true. Now the table shows data about some students' favorite amusement park rides. 4 students graphed the data. Which students make sense? So they have this, and they made a bar graph. So super slide equals 11. Let's see. Okay, there's more. This one, does super slide equal 11? No. This one, does super slide equal 11? No. This one, does super slide equal 11? Yes. This one, does super slide equal 11? Yes. So right now, I'm going to eliminate Alicia and Spencer. Ferris wheel equal 14. Let's see. Ferris wheel. This one goes to 18. This one goes to 14. So this one's still right. We're going to eliminate Tyler. Now let's see, if does bumper car equal 18? Yes. Does roller coaster equal 23? Yes. So what's graph makes sense? It's Kate. Kate. All hers match up correctly with this. Explains why the other graphs do not make sense. Because the numbers do not match the chart. Because the numbers do not match the chart.
Staff, if anyone would like a 3-inch binder, please come to the office at this time.
And all you have to do now is the practice homework. So guys, decode your graphs first before you do anything. It'll help you. And these are estimate the difference. Guess what? 371 should round to, it's between 300 and 400. That 7 is going to make it go up to 4. And 99, we know it's between 90 and 100. It's going to round to 100. You guys can do the same thing for this one. Okay? Other than that, you guys should be good. This is a pretty quick lesson.